Hey, it's Joanne Muse of the Tax Lien Lady. This is Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, where I get to answer your questions. So you get to come on Facebook and ask me your questions here in the comments. I'm actually on StreamYard, and this gets streamed right into my Facebook business page. And here's the thing, even if you're not on Facebook, you can, the best thing to do is not to email me your questions, but you could put them on my YouTube channel, because the best way is to make sure my assistant Nicole sees them. So if you're not on Facebook, you could put your questions on my YouTube channel. We also get the replays. The replays are here on the Facebook page, but we also put them on the YouTube channel. So you can ask your questions there. And if you're on Vimeo, I also have a Vimeo channel. You can ask me your questions there. And I will answer them here for you on Facebook, because my assistant Nicole will find your questions and give them to me when I'm here on Facebook, and I'll be able to answer them for you. So when you come on, just say hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you're from, because tax lien investing is very different in every state. And anybody that says they're an expert all over the country might not be telling you the truth, okay? All right, and Nicole has given me the first question that we got from Yvonne, and Yvonne would like to know more about the Illinois tax sales. And here's the thing, Yvonne, about the Illinois tax sales. Illinois is not one of my favorite states. It used to be. Oh no, Indiana, not Illinois. Okay, thank you, Nicole. So let me tell you about both, because Illinois and Indiana are right next to each other, right? And they're totally different, the way they do the tax sales. First of all, Illinois this past year just lowered their rate. They used to be one of the highest in the business. It used to be an 8% penalty every 6 months. Well, now it's a 9% penalty every 6 months. It used to be an 18% penalty every 6 months. So 36% per year. I'm getting tongue-tied already. But they changed that now to 9%, okay, every 6 months. So now it's only 18% a year. But that's neither good nor bad. The thing about Illinois is it's very competitive. It gets bid down very low, and not only is it super competitive, but it just to go to the tax sale. First of all, even though they have internet sales, they're done on their computers. You have to show up live, and just to register, you usually have to pay at least a couple $100 just to register for the tax sale. And you have to pay for the list. So not really one of my favorite states anymore. But as far as Indiana goes, Indiana's right next door to Illinois. Indiana is one of my favorite states because they do not bid down the interest rate. You bid up the price of the lien. They call that premium. Sometimes the bidding starts at the back taxes and goes up from there, and sometimes a separate amount is bid. It depends on the tax sale. In the online tax sales, usually a separate amount is bid, and that's the premium, and you will pay the premium and the back taxes. In a lot of the live sales, they just start the bidding at the back taxes and it goes up from there. Okay, but in Illinois, you get your interest or penalty, okay, on the full amount that you bid, and you get a penalty on the full amount that you bid, and you get an interest rate of 5% per annum on what you bid over the back taxes, a 10% penalty on your entire bid, and a 5% per annum penalty on what you bid over the back taxes. So yeah, it's a little bit complicated in Illinois, but it is one of my favorite states. What you have to be concerned about when you buy a tax lien in Illinois, just know that you must hire an attorney for each lien that you purchase. All right, very important. Get that money back with now, when I say without interest. You do get that money back. But when I say you get that money back, each county has its own amount that they give you back for your attorney fees and for the title search, which the attorney is going to do. So they'll have a separate amount for your noticing that the attorney does, and a separate amount for the title search that the attorney does. So each county has a different amount that they'll give you. So they might not give you all your attorney fees back, depending on the attorney that you hire. But just know that in Indiana, you must hire an attorney for every lien that you purchase. Now, the redemption period in Indiana in the normal tax sale is 1 year, but their tax sales happen in the fall. And if a property does not get sold in the fall tax sale, if a lien does not get sold in the fall tax sale, it gets certified to the county commissioner, and then the commissioner has their sale in the spring. They call that either the commissioner's sale or the certificate. It's referred to as the tax certificate sale. All right, so you have the tax lien sale in the fall, the tax certificate sale in the spring. And in this, if you buy in the spring, the starting bid is lowered, and the redemption period is shortened to only 120 days, so 4 months. Okay. All right. And so we have another question from YouTube, and this is about Michigan. I'm in Michigan. What valid sales sites are available? Well, there's a website that does most of the online tax sales in Michigan, and it's called tax-sale.info. All right, that's the site. It's not a .com, it's a .info. Tax-sale.info. They handle most of the online Michigan sales. Now, the Michigan sales don't happen until the end of the summer, early fall. Okay. All right. So we've answered the 2 questions that we've gotten already. But say hello if you're here watching. Let me know you're here, and let me know what your question is. In the meantime, I also want to let you know that we have a webinar on Thursday night. Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm doing the Tax Sales Success Basics webinar. So if you're new to tax lien investing, if you want to learn the difference between a lien, a deed, a redeemable deed, how much money you need to get started, what are some of the myths about tax lien investing, what tax sales are coming up, where are the better places to invest, well, then join us for the Tax Sale Basics webinar. Nicole has put the link in for you for the webinar. And hey, Ben, good to see you here. And your question is, what's up with the people in Facebook groups offering leads for tax sales and also leads to tax sale buyers across the country? Is there an opportunity, or are these scams? I have been seeing them pop up a lot lately. I don't know what you mean by leads. Well, I don't understand exactly what they're offering. Do you mean liens? They're offering liens to tax sale buyers, tax lien buyers? I don't know. I don't know if it's a scam or not. I just want to tell you, be careful to people that are offering you liens that are secondary liens. Now, I love secondary liens. I love to buy liens that other people bought, held on to, and now it's the end of the redemption period and they don't want them because they want to get their money. They don't want to do the foreclosure. All right. I like buying those liens and selling those liens. I sold 2 this past year. Okay. So if you know who's selling them and you do your due diligence, then it can be a good deal. But if you don't know who's selling them, a lot of times what some of these bigger companies do is these big hedge funds, they buy lots of liens, right? Well, they're not always too careful in the liens that they buy, and they try to sell off their junk. And so sometimes they'll sell them to these other companies that'll make them available to you, okay? So you don't want to buy those. And you want to make sure that if there is a company that might be legitimate trying to sell you liens, you want to just make sure to do your due diligence, okay? You still have to do your due diligence, even if somebody else tells you that they did theirs. You still have to do them, okay? And does that answer your question? And is that what you're seeing? And is that what you're seeing pop up? And the reason you're seeing them pop up now might be because the redemption period is at the end and they want to get rid of them. Okay. Oh, okay. So they will say, who needs a tax lien, tax deed, and buyer's list in the certain city or state, zip code of the USA? Let's see. Who needs updated Texas lien leads off-market properties in your targeted areas? Honestly, I don't know what they're selling. Yeah, I don't know what they're selling. Okay, so they could be selling people that are tax delinquent, that to real estate investors that are looking for people that are delinquent in their taxes that did not go to tax sale yet. They could be selling that, but I don't know what they're selling because they're not really specific about what they're selling. Tax lien, tax deed, and buyer's list. They might just be selling the list, which you don't want to buy. I don't buy lists. I don't, because here's the thing, I don't need a whole list. If I'm going to a tax sale, I don't want to look at all the properties in this sale because I'm not interested in all those properties. I'm not going to pay for the entire list. All right. I use a provider called Tax Sale Finders, which, by the way, I give to my coaching clients. I give them an account to Tax Sale Finders. It's not something I do. It's something I use that somebody else provides, okay? But what they do is they let me see what tax sales are coming up across the country, and then I can filter the list based on only the properties I'm interested in. And then I can look through, my clients get so many property reports a month. My coaching clients get 50 property reports a month. So they can look through 50 of those properties and decide on whether they want to bid on them or not. They get 50 property reports a month. Basically, they could do their due diligence really quickly that way. Okay. All right, Benjamin. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that pop up on my screen. So you must have been looking for tax deed, tax lien stuff, and they're targeting you. Yeah, so I would just look into it and be careful. Get a reference if you can. And here's the thing. Here's what I believe: the best way to get liens or deeds is to go to the tax sale. I know there's people that tell you that you're better off with the over-the-counter stuff. I will tell you, you're not better off with the over-the-counter stuff. That is mostly junk. They're mostly junk properties that are left over. Yes, tax sales are so competitive, and a lot of these tax sales, some counties will just keep selling properties until they sell in the tax sale, so they don't even have leftovers. Other counties will have another follow-up sale, like they'll have their tax sale. A lot of the online tax sales do this, like in Florida and in Arizona. If it doesn't sell in the first tax sale, they have another one where they sell it first come, first serve. Anybody that wants it gets it, okay? Then it goes to the over-the-counter list. So you don't want to buy over-the-counter liens. It's not a good strategy. I don't do it. I tell my clients not to do it. Some people do it well. They know how to do it. you really have to be there at the sale to know what gets left over and grab it as soon as it's available. Okay, that's the only way to do that. There are other, I know somebody else that has a specific strategy that they use for over-the-counter properties, but they are buying land that nobody else wants, and they're buying parcels of land that are next to each other, so that they can make them into a buildable piece of land, because by themselves they're not buildable pieces of land. So there's certain strategies, but you really have to know what you're doing. So for new investors, stay away from the over-the-counter. The best way to get them is at the tax sale. Live is the best way, and then online is, I do both. The manager for a tax lien fund, I do some live sales, and we do online sales. We do a lot more online sales than we can do live sales. Okay, because I'm the only one who goes to the live sales. So I only go to the ones that are close to me and the ones that I like. Ones that are real competitive, I'll stay away from. But the next best thing are secondary liens from somebody that you trust. Somebody that or know of, or have a relationship with, somebody that you're going to be going back to and buying from again. So they're not going to try to scam you or sell you something that's no good. They're going to want you to come back and buy more from them. That's the type of people that I want to buy secondary liens from. And I also sell secondary liens. Well, I have in the past. I don't have any private ones anymore, because now I'm investing for a fund, but the fund sells theirs, but they sell them to another entity, another fund. They also buy secondary liens they've bought secondary liens from my clients. So that's another good strategy. All right. So what other questions do we have? What other questions? I've told you about the webinar that we're doing Thursday night. If you're new to tax lien investing, you definitely want to be on that webinar, Tax Lien Investing Basics. Actually, Tax Sale Success Basics is the name of the webinar, Tax Sale Success Basics. And Nicole has already put in the comments for you the link to register. It's free webinar Thursday night. Now, if you really want to get ahead, if you really need some coaching, or some, not even coaching, like not even a coaching program with me, but some training, and just 3 days of training. I have 3 days of training coming up next week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. We're doing a 3-day workshop. Okay, it's not free because this is a lot of training, but right now you could get in for 80% off until we do the webinar Thursday night. Then that 80% early bird discount is going to go away. But right now you can get in at 80% off. And Nicole, just give them the link, taxsalesuccess.com. They can just go to taxsalesuccess.com and it will go right to the page where they can see the 80% early bird discount to get in onto that trade. This is normally a $997 workshop that you guys can get into for less than $200. Okay, until Thursday. So it's all you do is go to taxsalesuccess.com, www.taxsalesuccess.com, and that will take you right to the page to register for the workshop. Okay, so we got another question from Benjamin, but before I answer that question, Benjamin, I just want to tell everybody that the workshop will be from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I've allowed a couple of hours. We're going to go probably for at least 90 minutes each day, but I've allowed for 2 hours in case we get a lot of questions. It depends on how many people show up. Now, this is free for my coaching clients and members of the Tax Lien Process Accelerator. I actually do this for my coaching clients, but anybody else can pay to get in, and you get lifetime access to the workshop. It's going to be recorded, and you'll get lifetime access to it. And again, it's 12 to 2, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, next week, right? This coming week. And all you do is go to taxsalesuccess.com. All right, and Benjamin has a question. In my research for Florida, I heard tax lien sales, not tax deed sales. The property cannot be foreclosed after 2 years with no redemption. Instead, the property will go to a public auction. Is this accurate, and how does it work? Yes, it is accurate. And I'll explain how that works in a minute. And Nicole has just put the link in for you, but you can also just go to www.taxsalesuccess.com, and it will take you right to that link. Okay. Okay, and so how does it work? Well, after the 2-year redemption period is over in Florida, you do a tax deed application. You apply for your lien to go into a deed sale. Okay, it's called a tax deed application. Now, when you do that, you have to pay the county the fee, whatever. Each county has a different fee for that. I don't even know off the top of my head what it is. Okay. Each county has a different fee, but you also must pay any outstanding taxes. So you bought your lien 2 years ago, right? If it's ready to go in now to the tax deed sale, but you might have prior liens, and you'll have 2 subsequent liens to yours, right? Because if you bought, it's now 2023. If you bought in 2021, there could be a 2022 lien, and now there's current taxes for this year that you'll have to pay. That's going into the 2023 sale. So you'll have to pay all outstanding taxes, right? And all that is going to accrue at 18%. So the lien could still redeem after you do the tax deed application, or it could be sold in the tax sale. Either way, you get redeemed, and you get 18% on all the money that you put in once you do the TDA. All right. And it could take 6 months from the time you do the TDA for it to actually get sold in the tax sale, or longer, right? And you'll get 18% per annum on that money. So it's a good deal. Now, if it doesn't sell at the deed sale, then you get the property, or you can get the property. All right. But if it doesn't sell at the deed sale, it probably wasn't a good property to begin with. Okay. All right. So Ben, did that answer your question? And do we have any more? All right. So I told you guys about the webinar. Oh, and you're welcome, Ben. I told you guys about the webinar on Thursday. And then we also Thursday, and the webinar on Thursday is 7 p.m. Okay, that's a free webinar. Then we also at 12 p.m., I also do a little training right here on the Facebook page. I do a short tax lien investing tip. And it'll be recorded right here on Facebook. But if you want to come live, I'll be here at 12 p.m. on Thursday with your tax lien investing tip. And then Thursday night with your tax sales success basics webinar. And we have that workshop that starts on Monday. So you could find out more about the workshop, get in on the early bird special. Just go to taxsalesuccess.com. All right, and I think that's all we have for today. Do we have anything else, Nicole? Any more questions? Yeah, and I'll give you guys a minute to think of any questions that you have. You could type them into the comments. And Nicole doesn't have any more on her end. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to end today's call. And thank you for you guys that have given me questions. I enjoyed answering them. And I see somebody else has just joined us. So we were just wrapping up. If you just joined and you have a question for me, put it in now. Put it in the comments now, and I will stay and answer it. Otherwise, we're going to end this call. I did have a couple of announcements. You could watch the replay. It's going to be here as soon as we end this. And find out about the free webinar we're doing Thursday night and the workshop that we're doing next week, and how you can get in on the early bird special, 80% off. So, all right. So I think that's all we have for today. And I will be here next week at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. See you then.